This video brought to you by our Patreons. Please consider supporting this channel and joining our Patreons at patreon.com/NovaWing24. Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to the Nova Wrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on the 3rd of May 2020 and I hope this episode once again finds you safe, healthy and indoors. Happy May Day to everybody around the world and let's jump into, well actually before we jump into it I should note to everybody, thank you very much for all those who did wish me all the best for the current technical challenges that I'm experiencing. I have managed to source some parts, but getting them to me is still proving to be a challenge. So this episode is currently still coming to you courtesy of Microsoft Surface Book 2, and currently I am getting very sad and very jealous of all those who get to enjoy their simming experience. But you know what? You don't realize how much. I know I didn't sim a lot, but this not being able to has been a bit devastating for the mental health. But that's okay. We are still continuing on as we do. So we are going to jump into it again this week with some release news. We're going to start this week in the ESP platform world with Giovetski Designs updating their Volume 1 of Polish airports to be compliant with Prepared V5. Now, this is a paid update. Now, some developers are doing free updates, some are doing paid updates. This is obviously one of those paid ones. Now, to be fair, the Giovetski Designs Polish airports hadn't been around. It's been around for a while. So you get more. It's more than just adding V5 compatibility. I do want to stress that. You actually get a whole slew of updates and features to this one included. You get updated orthographics, so updated photo real imagery for the airports and the surrounding areas. You get across the 4 airports that are actually covered in this pack. All the airport layouts have been updated as they appear in 2020. They've all had updated buildings, updated models, including new terminals, updated interiors and exteriors for all of them, new jetway models, full implementation of SODE visual guidance docking systems as well, and a variety of other fixes and updates as well. So there's a lot in this update. And in traditional format, you are offered a fairly steep discount if you are upgrading from a previous version of the airports for this one as well. So yeah, pretty standard fare for these for Giovetski Designs. So this one's coming in for new users. You're looking at $31 or around about 20 if you're going to be upgrading from a previous versions of Polish Airports V1. Available now from your favorite flight sim retailer. Continuing on with ESP platform release. Actually, I should probably go back and sorry. Before I do, I'll go back to Giovetski Designs Polish Airports. So this one this release isn't just a prepared V5 exclusive release. This updates it across all of the ESP extended ESP family. So this download in this release is available and compatible with FSX, FSX Team Edition, and prepared in all of its forms. Interesting side note, and I did actually want to highlight this one, is that Giovetski Designs is one of the few developers that from the get-go always supported Flight Sim World. And although that title is now dead, there is a small group of users who still use it. It is interesting that he has now retired support of Flight Sim World from this release. So, because previously, over the last sort of year or so, his releases have still been supporting Flight Sim World. So it's interesting that his releases no longer support them. So as I said, it's a bit of a sad moment when I saw that in the compatibility list. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, right, moving on to the next release. So the next release comes to us from Orbix with their release of Tweed New Haven Airport. So this is an interesting little GA, sort of, well, not GA, but GA and regional airport that's serviced by the mainline, so the subsidiaries of the mainline carriers. They're American Eagle and United Express. So this one is the home to the world-renowned Yale University and provides a very important gateway to a variety of places around America, and so has a lot of traffic coming in and to and from New York City and Boston as well. And so this one comes out and is designed to be fully compatible with global-based based in OpenLC North America and is supports of the 64-bit versions of Prepared, so both V4 and V5 in all of their forms. So this is an up-to-date rendition of the airport as it appears in 2020. Includes a large amount of photo reel of not just the airport but also the surrounding area and harbour as well. So there's a lot in there for the low and slow flyers as well as the tube liner pilots. So this airport is frequented by a lot of your sort of smaller regional jets and also some of the larger sort of up to 737 and 757 size as well. It includes, as I said before, the airport of the layout of the airport as it appears in 2020 includes coverage of the entire city of New Haven is included as well, and a variety of custom autogen and custom features and variety of custom points of interest have all been included as well. It includes custom 5-meter elevation terrain mesh for the area and custom ground poly as well. So pretty cool. It goes dovetailed very nicely with a lot of other releases from Orbix and other developers. So this one's available coming in at about 25 US dollars or your regional equivalent, available now from Orbix Direct. And moving on with another ESP. Well, actually, no, this one's a Prepared V5 exclusive release, this one. And I'll be honest, I have mixed feelings about this. So this week we saw the release of Pilot's FS Global Real Weather Prepared V5 edition. Now, for those who may not know what FS Global Real Weather is, it's an add-on that's been around for absolutely, it's been around for years. It really has. Um, and it's sort of I believe it predates Active Sky in terms of being a global weather engine, and sort of it started filling the gap when back in the old FSX days when FSX actually had sort of a pipeline from Jeppesen and actually sort of had real weather charts. It had real weather support. When that started becoming spotty, then I believe Pilots was actually the first developer to actually step in and offer a payware solution to that. Um, so, so bear that in mind, folks, is that this has been around a long time. This is not new. And it's gone through a series of iterations over the years, including updates to support Prepared in both its 32-bit forms and its 64-bit forms, and also X-Plane 10 and above, and now onto Prepared V5. It is basically just an Active Sky. It's the same as Active Sky. Serves the same, or FS Real WX. It serves the same purpose. It doesn't give you any texture add-ons. It doesn't do anything like that. All it does is it simply takes meta information, which is freely available around the world, converts it into the format that your simulator can read, and does that to inject the weather. That's it. So it's a very lightweight add-on. Now, as I said, it's been around a while. A lot of people are using, enjoy and use real-world weather, which is a great way to learn and practice and stuff like that, especially if you're into simulating tube liner flights. My problem is that this is done as it's done as a Prepared V5 exclusive, where literally all they've done is just I'm looking at the changelog and I'm not seeing anything that's actually changed. And as far as I'm aware from reading through the SDK in Prepared, there doesn't seem to be that much, if any, changes to the way it accepts external weather injection. So to be charging over $40 for this add-on by itself, and especially not offering an upgrade if you're an existing user of FS Global Real Weather, that's quite frankly stinks. I am very unimpressed with that. Look, I'm happy to be proven wrong. As I said, I'm all for supporting developers and the hard work they have to go in through developing for this. And I understand that, ongoing costs, especially maintaining servers of things like doing real world weather, I understand that there are those involved. However, as I said, Active Sky and Rex always offer, which are they're the giants in this space, in the real weather space for flight simulation. They all offer discounts for upgrading to the new platform if they do offer it, if they do a paid upgrade rather than a free upgrade. So to have Pilots do this I flat out don't agree with it, and I struggle to understand why. So, but I'll leave it as it is. At the moment, it is the only weather engine I believe it is the only weather engine that is actually 100% compatible with V5. Active Sky is currently going into they've been Active Sky and Rex have both been doing internal testing. I believe they're about to go to a public beta very shortly. However, this is the only one that I understand is currently certified and guaranteed to work in V5. So if you desperately need real world weather, this might be the way to do it. However, I just question the way they've gone around it. That's all. That's my concern. As I said, it's a very lightweight download. There's no textures, no improvements, anything like that. It is simply purely a input of weather metars and to allow them to be represented in your sim. So there you go. Take it or leave it as you do. If I want to pick this one up, you're looking at 42-ish US dollars, or region equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Continuing on with Prepared V5 releases, or this one also Prepared V4. Captain Sim released their long-awaited, well, was it long-awaited? I'm not really sure. 767-300ER base package. What a mouthful that is. And I have questions. Okay, so this is a beta. There's my first problem with it. This harks back to the episode that we did on the Three Grumpy Simmers of the early access myth. So Captain Sim have brought their 767 Dragged It Kicking and Screaming into the 64-bit sim world. Currently, it is only available and certified to work in Prepared v4.5. They have confirmed that the base package will support for V5 with no additional payment, which is nice. What got me though, and to their credit, I mean they're in the same that they are pitching this at the exact same market that PMDG do. That their price is $135 for the aircraft. Now, admittedly, yes, there is a discount currently available, bringing it down to $100 because they've acknowledged that it is a beta. Um, but there's no, so it's your duration. Well, but whether it's the duration of the beta or it's just a time limited one for initial release, we don't know. There's no information about that. There was also what's been interesting is that there was some posts around because the preceding version of this on the sort of FS9 FSX world had multiple engine options. There's only a single engine variant for this one, and there was a publication on their Facebook page which talked about the expansion packs that are coming, which is a standard Captain Sim. That's a standard Captain Sim model, and it's also, by the way, the exact same standard model that PMDG use for everybody else who's following along at home. That the freighter and other variants will be coming on as expansion packs later on, and they've said that in order for you to get the different engine variants, you have to go buy one of the expansion packs as well. So again, I have mixed feelings about that, but it is rightly or wrongly, for the people who are shaking their fist and complaining to Captain Sim about that, sorry, you all brought that on yourself. Because that's exactly what PMDG has been doing to you guys as Tubeliner pilots for years. So because you all suck it up and accepted that, guess what? Every other developers who have Tubeliners is picking up the same thing. So, um, sorry, not sorry. You guys brought this. Yeah, we brought this on ourselves as a community. We brought this on ourselves by allowing ourselves to be suckered in by this. But that is a whole heap of personal opinions coming into this one. So sticking with the facts for this one, as I said, you're looking at it is a beta release. There's been quite a few people complaining about various reuses of textures and models. I'm not going to get into that. But the highlight reel is that it has a functional flight deck with many of the advanced systems models. There's some still in work. Full support of PBR textures and 4K and PBR texturing. A variety of door configurations will be included by the end, though currently only one configuration is available right now. Authentic Turbine Sound Studio sound set. They a full repaint kit available, full support for Navigraph data, and a variety of other and a highly accurate 3D model internally and externally. As I said, if you want to pick this one up, this one's available from the Captain Sim website. It's coming in at currently $100 if you want to get in early, or eventually for 135. Available now from Captain Sim. Now, while that particular 767 debacle is going on, there was quietly a interesting release of another 767 over onto F16 edition. So, many years ago, Commercial Level Simulations partnered with Just Flight and released their edition of the 767 for FS9, for FS9 and FSX. It has now been brought across onto F16 edition, onto the Steam Edition platform. It's been re-released onto that platform. Bear in mind, folks, no changes have been made. This is exactly the same one that's been around for, I think, about 8 years, 7 or 8 years. I think this one's been available for. Maybe longer, maybe newer. I'm not sure, but either way, it's nothing really that new. It's just been issued onto onto Steam. That's it. So $35, which I think is actually more expensive than the version that's available from the Just Flight website. If I always say with this one, if you're going to these days, especially if you're still flying FSX, which I have no, I said I still have it installed. Well, yeah, when my PC is working. So I think that just buyer beware when you're buying direct on Steam these days, because the longevity of that platform is short. I feel so. You might be better off buying direct from direct from commercial level sims, or from another third party retailer. But otherwise, if you do want to pick this one up, you're looking at $35 or your regional equivalent, available now on Steam. Oh, and yes, it does include 3 engine variants as well, just so you know. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, I'm gonna let that one slide. Okay, so that rounds up the ESP platform news. Moving into the world of X-Plane, the guys over at Just Sim just finished porting over their rendition of Santorini International Airport from the ESP platforms over to X-Plane. So this is a rendition of the airport as it appears at the end of 2019. So including highly detailed airport objects, all airport buildings, as I said, laid out as it appears at the end of 2019. Custom textured taxiways, runways, and apron. Custom surround, including full support, including a lot of custom autogen. Includes a variety of high-resolution ground textures and building textures as well, and custom high-resolution 3D models. Includes a custom patch for Ortho4XP to allow you to have a full curved runway as well. So kind of cool. And a variety of realistic reflections are placed on the glass of the terminal building as well. So a lot going on there. And you pick this one up for about $15 or your regional equivalent, available now from Sim Markets. And a helicopter release for X-Plane 11 this week. The guys over at V-Sky Labs have been busy again, and they've released their Denali H3 project this week, for which is a very interesting helicopter. I'd never heard of this thing, and it looks really kind of cool and a lot of fun, actually. So this is a Belgian ultralight two-seat helicopter, which the older idea of an ultralight helicopter is a bit weird for me, but anyway. And it's basically is authorized in several European countries in the category of ultralight helicopter. I didn't even know that was a category that existed, but that's kind of cool. But yeah, as I said, but what's also really interesting is that it's both, you can either purchase it ready-made or it's actually available as a kit form. So yeah, kind of cool, kind of awesome. Anyway, so this is a highly accurate 3D model, a highly accurate version of the Denali H3, licensed from Denali themselves as well. Includes a highly accurate 3D model, both of external and internal as well. It makes full use of the experimental flight model mode of X-Plane 11 4.0 and above. Designed from the ground up to be fully functional with VR pilots in mind. Includes built-in support for Avital compatibility, multi-layered FMOD sound pack, and a update including a 3D pilot and passenger visualization as well. So this one, from what it sees, looks like it looks super cute. It looks super cute and looks really awesome. So yeah, if you're into frantic palm trees, this might be one that you might want to pick up. Also, they've come out of the gate with this one with quite a significant discount for this one for everybody who's stuck at home to wanting to flight sim. So the standard price for this one is going to be $29 US, but they've got it on a launch special for $17 available, so almost half off. So that's a pretty good deal for this one if you do want to pick this up and pick this one up and give it a go. You can pick this one up either direct from V-Sky Labs, or you can pick it up from the Explain.org store, available now. Moving out of the aviation world and moving into the world of the permanent way. Train Simulator saw a couple of releases this week. The first one we saw was the new route add-on, the Southwestern Expressways, Bristol, Taunton, and Exeter route has been added to Train Simulator 2020. So this gives you three main lines as part of this one, and it comes first one from Just Trains. This one does. Now this gives you the Pusey to Taunton line. It also gives you the Bristol to Westbury line and the Bristol to Exeter line as well. It gives you a variety of standards, scenarios included for each of the lines. And the key highlights of this one, you've got 167 miles of routing to actually be able to go and enjoy in your variety in your virtual trains. You've got 26 highly detailed stations for all, including custom assets throughout dotted through the stations and also through the countryside as well. A dozen accurately modelled points of interest across the routes as well. As I said, seven standard scenarios are included as well, and fully compatible with Quick Drive as well. Now, a couple of features to know about this one is that you do need to have the European Locomotive and Asset Pack as a separate add-on. You do need to have that in order to make full use of all of the components of this route add-on. So yeah, looking pretty cool, pretty awesome. Coming in for a pretty standard price for route add-ons, just on $35 US, or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. In the other release for Train Simulator this week, we saw a really interesting bit of a rolling stock added this week, which is the UK Military Wagon Pack add-on. So this is an interesting one. This basically adds in two new pieces of rolling stock, both empty and with loads. It's the War Flat and War Well wagons are being used by the Ministry of Defence. This is designed for when they're transporting armoured and unarmoured vehicles long distances over the course of throughout the United Kingdom. Includes such loads as the Warrior and Scorpion infantry fighting vehicles, both of which have been provided as highly detailed models have been included as part of this pack from Just Trains as well. So you also get two scenarios included with this one as well. So I said you get two wagons, the War Flat and the War Well wagons. You get the Warrior and Scorpion infantry fighting vehicles that can be loaded onto those. So you get the loaded and unloaded and tail lamp variants of each of these wagons. Highly detailed, accurate 3D modeling and textures, including correct wagon numbering, and as I said, two scenarios. The scenarios, though, you do need to have a couple of the other add-ons, like a lot of things with Train Simulator. You've got to have the Portsmouth Direct line and the EWS Class 66 locomotive in order to be able to use the scenarios. But otherwise, this one just, as I said, it just looks cool and kind of awesome, this one. So this was coming in at $11 US, or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Sticking with the permanent way, moving to a different title with a difference, though. This week saw the release into early access of Train Station Renovation. Now, this comes to us on the back of, this seems to be this growing trend of the fixer-upper sort of simulations that we see from a lot of developers of late. With the idea of basically you take an abandoned railway station and you have to sort of salvage it, bring it back to profits, and where you can actually sort of you actually sort of turn it from a decrepit, broken down sort of building and actually build it back up, put it back on the market, and encourage rolling stock to actually make a stop at your trains. And it includes highly detailed and complex 3D models of railway stations, and fully interactive as well, so you can actually knock them down and bring them up. This is very early access though, so a lot of the features aren't implemented yet. A lot of it is also, it looks suspiciously like a lot of very basic Unity assets are being used here. But we'll see where it goes in time. It could be interesting. So as I said, it's a really interesting sort of take on the fixer-upper genre that we seem to have these days. Actually honestly think that should be a genre of its own. But anyway. Now, the North standard price for this one is going to be $15 US. It is on a early access special at the moment for about $13 US, available now on Steam. Continuing on with public transport and moving into a different one, a latest add-on for Lotus Simulator was released this week. Now, Lotus Simulator is a sim that's got a really bad reputation in the simulation community. Like, it's shocking, its reputation. So so it's like, and I'll be honest, I've not used it, but the reviews and everything I'm reading about it is not good. However, this particular piece of, and as I said, for an early access title that's been 2 years in early access and still has no real obvious roadmap towards full release, they've released an add-on which actually has a roadmap, which is interesting. So it seems that it has a more detailed roadmap than the actual sort of core game does, which is weird. But anyway, so this is Lotus Dusseldorf 1981, which is basically trying to provide a rendition of the tram system inside Dusseldorf. And sorry, and specifically this is just for trams as well. Not for, so the whole simulator is supposed to be able to do a variety of different, it's both uh, subways, trains, buses, trams. It's supposed to be able to do everything, but it seems that so far the releases have all been focusing on trams, and this one is no exception. So this one, this is the initial release. As I said, it's going into a very early, and it says it's, and to its credit, it does say that it is a very early beta of this particular product of a base sim that's also in a very early beta. But moving on. But they've actually laid out a roadmap of the updates and the phase one, phase two, and also the price increases that'll go along with that. So you can get in now basically and save yourself about $30 to about $25 if you get in now. But there's a roadmap, but no timeline with said roadmap. So. Hmm. So take it with a grain of salt. As I said, the base sim's got a lot of bad press and a lot of bad user experiences. So how this one goes is anyone's guess. But if you are wanting to give it a go and give it a risk, you are looking at $45 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Continuing on with public transport, we're moving into the road with the release for this week for OMSI 2 of the 400 MMC pack. So this is the 400 MMC is a type of sort of over chassis for be able to put a variety of different double-decker buses into thing, and it includes a highly detailed rendition of the real thing. Now this is a hugely detailed sort of add-on that's coming through here. Now, what's really, really interesting with this is that um, you get 25 different versions of this bus are included with this pack. I'm like, that's it's like nuts. And we're not talking just livery changes here. We're talking, different engines. We're talking different lengths. We're different driving cabs. It's like there's a stunning amount of stuff that's coming through here. They did say that you're not getting everything at once, though. There are some stuff that will be coming later on in their version 1.1, where they'll be getting some London-specific ones, London Transport-specific ones, some more low-height variants. But there's a lot of stuff coming in to tell you out of the gate, including accurate systems, electronic and engine systems for and braking systems for the actual vehicle. Includes dynamic events such as the disabled stop bells, dynamic litter, driver telemetrics, and more. Includes fully functional ticket machines of at least 3 different styles, a couple of different controller types, different seating types, and actual mirror screens as well. So they're using this ADL Smart Vision technology. So there's a lot going on for a bus driving simulation. There's a lot going on for this. So as I said, like OMSI 2 fascinates me. It genuinely fascinates me. It really does. Anyway, so if you wanted to pick this one up for your bus driving pleasure, you're looking at $15 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. And rounding out the simulation release news for this week is a interesting little indie title um, called Outbreak Story. Now, it's a bit interesting that like many things, when COVID-19 first started becoming a thing in the world, there were multiple very bad, very quick, dirty, rubbish games that sort of were thrust onto Steam very, very quickly for a few bucks. Much like that, Storm Area 51 nonsense that happened last year and all the rest of it. Um, so I've avoided covering any of those. This one, however, actually piqued my interest because it's not specific about COVID-19 or anything like that. It's actually, um, and graphically, it doesn't look very great. However, it's what's going on behind it, which is actually really interesting. Um, Basically, it forces you to take on the role of an admin, like a the it's sort of the players act as a state administrator is what they call. Um, and you have to make decisions on where you allocate resources and funding to medical care, government, emergencies, and community services. Um, so it's really interesting, and it's all based on mathematics and science and various different models of how things react and how people react as well. So it's really interesting concept, and possibly something that's a bit more topical. Well, so obviously it's very topical at the moment, but it's interesting that it's not actually sort of trying to. It's not a. It doesn't appear at least to be a quick grab for cash like a lot of these other junk sims, like these junk titles are. This one actually seems to be there's some thought going on to it. Now, whether it was planned before the current world events, I don't know. However, as I said, it's very interesting, and I think it's yeah, kind of interesting. The developer is a single developer, um, and he's sort of saying, yeah, he's not very skilled at game play, but at the end of the day, it's about the modeling behind it, not necessarily, and you don't have to have beautiful, you don't have to have 4K graphics for a title to be very good. So, anyway, if you wanted to give this one a go and give it a crack, it's not very cheap. It's not very expensive. It's only $4. So it might be worth having a look at if you are looking for something different. So there you go. All right. Anyway, and with that, folks, with that pleasant news, that does round out the Nova Wrap for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos and want to see more. If you do want to support the work that I do, please consider not only doing the like and subscribing to the video, please consider supporting myself and the channel over on Patreon as well. Just search Patreon, just go to patreon.com/Novoing24. All right, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.